Hi, this is It Isn't Easy to Hear with Kevin Easy. Uh, okay, I wanted to do some kind of review thing about pop culture, movies, music, and comic books and that sorted bullshit. So, I'm jumping ahead of the gun. There's the production value of this is pretty low. That being said, I'd like to talk about a movie that I think it's personally one of my all-time favorite movies. I kind of believe it's underrated, and it kind of bugs me. I belong to some certain quote unquote punk sites and shit, and I don't ever see it listed. The movie is called Hardcore Logo by Bruce McDonald, distributed by Rolling Thunder Films, which is Quentin Tarantino's production company. Anyways, Hardcore Logo is a story of Joe Dick and his band Hardcore Logo, which I think is very humorous to call the band Hardcore Logo, since rock music, especially punk rock, is usually, you know, iconic imagery like the Bad Religion No Crosses logo, or Misfits Crimson Ghost, or Black Flag Bars. The name Hardcore Logo is kind of a spoof of that. Um, that being said, this is a mockumentary. It's based on a book, which right here is the graphic novel of it. And it's a pretty interesting read. If you look at it, it's got a lot of pretty cool artwork. It's a beautiful book, actually. What I like the most about it is at the end of it, it's got all the different chord progressions in it and shit. So it's an interesting book. It's for musicians, but it's not just for musicians. Anybody who's ever even entertained being in a band would probably dig this. That being said, Hardcore Logo is the story of Joe Dick and his band Hardcore Logo. Hardcore Logo was a band, and they broke up back in probably the late '80s, early '90s, or whatever. And they decided to get back together. Joe gets the band back together for a reunion for the benefit of his um, uh, icon, or I guess the guy who got him into music, Bucky Haight, who supposedly was shot and had both of his legs blown off. So they have a Rock Against Guns concert, and it's pretty cool. There's a couple cameos by a few people like Joey Ramone in it, and needless to say, they get money together for the benefit, and Joe decides to get his band back together for a final tour or whatever. So they go tour and stuff, and um, the reason I like this movie so much is the fact that there is a lot of it's like I said, it's like Spinal Tap. It's so clever and so on the spot to what it's like to be in a band. Joe is a complete narcissistic asshole. He's completely obsessed with the band, and like that is his whole life. I can relate to that. Billy Talent, his guitar player slash best friend, has moved on to things. He doesn't want to be typecasted as being a punk rock fucking guitar player, even though he's like one of the best. The rest of the band, John Oxenbarger, who they call Ox, he's a lithium addled idiot. He's a bass player. He's capable. He's a good backup singer, but he has no personality other than being in the band. And then Pipe Fitter, the drummer, is a basket case. Um, Hugh Dillon plays Joe Dick in this movie, and I've not seen too much. I heard he's a Canadian sensation, but the only thing I've ever seen Hugh Dillon in was Trailer Park Boys, when Lucy, who was Ricky's old lady, is a dancer at that club. The owner of the club, that was Hugh Dillon, and that's who Joe Dick is in this movie. The guy who plays Billy Talent, who's the lead guitar player, number two in the band. There's a little joke about that. He's I've seen him in a couple different movies. One of the most notable ones is Blade Trinity. He's one of the vampires with Parker Posey and Triple H. He's the other guy. And then the drummer Pipe Fitter, I've seen him in Burning the Cruisers Part 2, another music movie. So, I mean, I highly, 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 without a shadow of doubt, I highly recommend this movie. Highly. It's entertaining as hell, especially if you were any kind of musician at all. Um, which brings me to another point of this. Okay, there is a sequel to this movie, is Hardcore Logo 2. And I could sit here and tell you how horrible of a movie it is. It's not. Um, Honestly, the whole part of the second movie, and like I believe you can get them both together on a Blu-ray, like together on one. And that would be the way to get it. I don't personally own it. I've watched it online. The thing I can say positive about Hardcore Logo 2 is Care Failure and Die Mannequin. If you've never heard Die Mannequin, they're awesome. I love them to death. Care Failure is so freaking cool, hot, whatever you want to call her. She's awesome. I love her to death. Her part in the movie is great. What it basically consists of is Die Mannequin plays themselves in it, and the filmmaker of the first one, Bruce, who was like it is set like Spinal Tap, where you know the director of the documentary is the director of the movie. Um, he decides, he's feeling bad about the first movie because of what happened to the band, and he gets his call from this person's Care Failure saying that she's possessed and whatnot, and so he goes to follow up with that, and Care Failure eats up the camera every time they have it on her. Just they're I like Dynamic, and I think they're a great band. And to me, that's the whole point of that whole movie is Care Failure's part. What I don't like about the second movie, and I think he kind of dropped the ball on it. It's a lot about the director. Bruce puts himself out there too much, and it ends up being a Bruce McDonald movie, and it's not interesting. His part is not interesting at all. It's kind of, I don't know. I didn't like that part of it. But like I said, as for both movies together, awesome. It's a great watch. Uh, like I said, the graphic novel, great. It's awesome too. Um, just Hardcore Logo 2 by itself, not so great. I mean, I'd tell you you'd be better off just checking out Dynamic and Care Failure online on YouTube or whatever, and listening to their music over watching the movie, because the movie's just kind of overblown in a lot of Bruce McDonald, which, like I said, he's not interesting at all in the movie. Um, it's more, I don't know. I just wouldn't suggest it. That being said, I'm out, and thank you very much for spending your time with me. Have a great day, and I will see you soon.